everything going here. We'll see how logic guy
You
is.
can go, but I'm so if you can go back to the beginning of the presentation, so because I'm following your lead here. So whatever slide you're on, I'm on.
Oh, are you? I haven't started yet. Are you ready? Are we going?
Yeah, we're live. We're live. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. Yeah. So what I want to do today is I was noticing if you want to just bring up the slides, you can go ahead and do that up at the top. And just on the first slide there, you'll see, well, I guess I should always introduce myself. We're doing our 106th Bite of Physics. I'm John Mallinckrodt, and I've been doing this now for a couple of years. Occasionally, just topics, random topics that occur to me that are at least physics related. This one isn't very physics related, frankly, but I think it's interesting anyway. And what we're going to talk about today is the landing of the first of Apollo 11 on the moon, which is it's interesting to me to note what's going on these days because you're getting a lot of social media posts about the Apollo landings on the moon, and I think a lot of it is driven by the fact that we've got other countries now. People are sending all sorts of probes to the moon. And you got India, China, maybe just those two. I think somebody else sent a probe to the moon. Anyway, but then you've got corporations now sending probes to the moon. So you've got all these things going up there. And of course, when they go up there, one of the first things they see is the detritus from the moon landings. So there's all these great pictures now of the Apollo landing sites. You can see the lunar rover tracks on the moon and all that. And I just think it's great that there's kind of this renewed interest in all of that, and of course it makes it more and more untenable all the time to suggest that we didn't do that, even though it is kind of amazing. I mean, the whole idea that we sent people to the moon more than a half a century ago and haven't done it since, and in my opinion, probably won't do it at least for another 5 or 10 years. I know they're saying they're going to do it next year. I think they've been saying next year for 2 or 3 years now. I don't think it'll happen for at least another 5 if it happens at all, because there's really no good reason to send people to the moon yet, in my opinion. But at any rate, we did do that. And so if you go to slide 2, you'll see the thing that inspired this particular bite of physics, and that is a picture from the Indian lunar probe Chandrayaan 2, which took this picture of the Apollo 11 landing site. You can see the remainder of the descent stage, the thing that the lunar module was sitting on, and that was left there. Unlike some of the other Apollo sites, you don't see tracks and footprints as much. I don't know, you probably see footprints with a better picture because you do with some of the pictures of Apollo landing sites, but this one, of course, they didn't have a lunar rover on the first Apollo, on Apollo 11, the first landing, so that you don't see those tracks. But you do see the descent stage sitting there amidst this boulder and, well, really crater field. And it got me to thinking about the fact that we've probably all seen the video taken from, I guess, a camera. They must have had a camera underneath the probe that Armstrong used to kind of see what he was landing on. And that's a pretty famous video. One we didn't see in real time, but we did see later, it turns out. And it shows, of course, craters as it's coming in. And I got to thinking, wow, I wonder if you can identify the actual craters in this picture on slide 2 from that video. And it turns out you can, and that's what I want to do today, is just kind of go through that video kind of, in a few frames, and just identify a lot of these big craters that you see here, and as a result, really see exactly the trajectory that the Eagle took as it was coming in to land on the place that you see there on slide 2. Maybe before I go on, I'll just say hi to Andy. Andy, you're still in Fiji, I assume?
And he's in Fiji,
He's in Fiji, yeah.
dude.
Yes, I'm still here in Fiji.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
You're at the Cousteau Resort. I remember. I didn't go out there, but that's out on the point, I guess, beyond Savu Savu, right?
Yes, it's just a few minutes out of town.
Yeah.
This place is ridiculous. It's
The
I'm so
resort.
relaxed. Well, it's just Fiji. The
Oh
resort's
yeah.
very nice, but I went diving yesterday, and it was ridiculous. Like I have so many fish, so many different kinds of fish, so many coral,
Do you have an
sharks.
underwater
Like
camera?
I have a little GoPro, but
Uh huh.
I was watching them last night, and it's astonishing. I've been certified for scuba for 35 years, and I've never seen anything like this.
That's
It's,
amazing. I guess that's why it's there.
it's
Huh?
out of this world. I mean, it's very much in this world, but
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing.
Well,
So
that's
I think I
cool.
might scuba again today, but to be honest, it was so good yesterday that I might just want to leave it at that.
You don't want to spoil
Um,
Yeah.
it or
yeah,
risk it.
yeah.
How deep were you? Because I've done Thailand and the Great Barrier Reef, so I can relate.
Oh,
But I did it long before the GoPro, so I didn't capture and have video and color and the technology. 30 years ago, you couldn't
yeah.
have done that with a GoPro.
It's true. I tried to. I had a little housing for a film camera back in the day, and got some just worthless photos. But I was so excited that I had like the outline of my buddy scuba diving. But it's just incredible now. I took video
It sounds like very visible
partly.
water too. I mean, the visibility must have been amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing compared to anything I've ever experienced, but it's actually not that good for Fiji. Like it's been raining a lot. So we've been snorkeling and diving around the resort. Like there's right off the dock here, there's amazing coral and stuff like 100 feet into the water. Amazing fish, but the visibility, because of all the rain, the visibility has been pretty bad. So yesterday we took a boat out about 45 minutes to it. There's like like a reserve out there, like a little island, and so in the more open ocean conditions, the rain doesn't affect the visibility so much. But it's just I'm astounded.
You're in awe.
Yeah,
Astounding.
I am in awe. It's amazing.
Yeah,
So
I don't. I don't.
frankly, I'm really optimistic. Like I've heard so much bad stuff about doom and gloom about the reefs and about um that coral worldwide, and maybe I don't know if this is like a comeback or if Fiji is just the last place standing, but it's still really beautiful here. So
Well,
Yeah, I
might
was
be
ask
just
the
lucky.
people that took you out if there's areas that used to be like that are no longer like that. That's kind of the operative thing to
No,
do.
it's
I,
a
I
good
don't
question.
I don't scuba dive in the US. I never have. And it's because that stuff's so awesome. Why would I want to go see a bunch of like dropped cell phones and boat anchors in like the lakes in Texas, It's all
Yeah,
gray. Once you've seen color, you want to stay there, right?
yeah. I'm not super into diving, but I got certified a long time ago, and I've had just a few experiences in my life where, like, when I find myself somewhere where the diving is amazing or at least good, um, I'll go and really enjoy it. And this is like 35 years in the making
well, when you
for
look
me.
at that, I'm looking at Google Earth, just reminding myself of the incredible reef off the south, I guess, of the point there where you're, and I guess there's just like, mini, probably a square mile or something to explore, it looks like. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Andy. Let's see, what
Yeah,
time is it there? It must be pretty early.
it's 10 till 6 a.m.
Yeah. Sun's
tomorrow.
just coming up. Tomorrow. Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, cool. Anyway, welcome. Good to see you here. Let me so getting back to the slide. So I was talking about this picture, this Chandrayaan 2 picture of the Apollo 11 landing site. And anybody down there, by the way, if you want to come up on stage and hang out with the cool kids, raise your hand. We'll bring you up. You can join in. And I anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the video of the Apollo 11 landing and identify the craters that you see in that picture on slide 2 as it flies over. And maybe we'll just go ahead and do that. If you go to slide 3, I've got the picture there, kind of, the immediate vicinity of the eagle. on the left.
Do you
And
wanna comment on the video as it rolls?
I think I will do that, but I'm going to play. I have a recording of it that I'm going to play. I can't play it from the video. Anyway, I'm going to play the soundtrack as it plays,
Oh, so
and
you will be the source. So I mute me here.
if you want to, yeah, if you want to mute mute your version of it, I will play it
Okay.
from my end. Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. Thank you. Exactly. Let me cue up my thing. Okay, so there's that. So I'm going to start the video if anybody wants to cue it up themselves and kind of watch along. It's only a minute and a half. It's not a big deal, and you don't really need to do anything but kind of listen to the soundtrack. But if you want to watch it along with the soundtrack, we'll start it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Altitude 4200. Houston, you're go for landing, over.
So this is about a minute and a half before landing.
Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Shot alarm. Altitude 1600. 1,400 feet, still looking very good. 700 feet, 21 down. 33 degrees. 100 feet, down at 19. 1201. 1201. Roger, 1201 alarm. We're go. Same type. We're go.
So
Altitude
you're starting to
velocity light.
see some craters and things, but we're not quite there yet.
15 forward. 11 forward, coming down nicely. 200 feet. 4.5 down. 5.5 down. 60 seconds. Lights on.
60 seconds to, I think that's a fuel remaining thing. They
Down
land
2.5.
50 seconds later. And right there, you see you see the first big crater, and then they move forward a little bit. You start to see the craters just beyond that big crater, and then you'll see kicking up some dust and landing.
40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 4 forward.
Drifting to the right.
4 forward, drifting to the right a little.
But then they drift a little to the left after that, which is interesting.
Contact light. Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
So that was a pretty exciting moment. I remember I watched or listened to, I guess I should say, the landing, and then later on that evening, because I was working at a gas station at the time, I was a pimply-faced teenager. I had to be pumping gas at the time that Armstrong actually stepped onto the surface. I took a little TV that we had to the gas station. Typically, nobody came in for gas. Well, I was the only person there. I was the guy, right? And this was before people pumped their own gas. If anybody came, I had to go in and go out and pump their gas. But nobody ever came to this service station at night, so I basically just sat there and twiddled my thumbs. And just when Armstrong was going down the ladder, there was a honk of the horn. I looked out, and there was an asshole sitting at the pump wanting gas. I wanted to go out and kill him. He was like, "What are you doing driving around? Don't you know that a man is about to set foot on the moon? And here you are out here wanting me to pump your gas." I could have killed the guy, but I didn't. Better angels and all that. Anyway, so that's slide 3. That's the video, which you can return to. But the rest of this, I just want to take a few frames out of that and identify things. If you go to slide 4, you'll see kind of pretty much that place where the video stopped for a moment. And I've identified with numbers some of the craters. That crater number 1, if you look at the actual frame from the video, that crater 1 is the big crater in the Chandrayaan picture that's on the left. And then you can see smaller craters, 3 and 2. I've identified them. It may not be obvious. You might say, "Well, come on, how do you know that?" Well, I spent a lot of time going through the video and comparing them to this, and so I really did figure out at least, and you can determine more than those. But those are those craters that you can see there. And if you go to slide 5, you'll see we've moved a little closer now 3 and 2 become a little more, a little more obvious. But also, I've identified a couple of more craters on the rim that I call 4 and 5. And you'll see those as well. And if you look really closely, you'll see that it's more than that, extending off from 4. There's a few other craters kind of heading on the way to 2. You have to kind of rotate your field of view too. They're kind of 90 degrees off in field of view, but I think you can see that. I don't know if anybody has any comments on any of this, but feel free to break in if you do. We're just about done because I'm just going to go through a few more frames and just express my own enthusiasm about being able even to do this. I think it's so cool. So slide 6, closer yet. Now you've got a really good view of the first crater, the crater that I'm calling crater 1. You'll notice that it's a different time of day because it's the side of the crater near the landing spot is lit up in the video frame, whereas it's the opposite. It's the side of the crater away from the landing spot that's lit up in the picture from Chandrayaan. So different times of day on the surface of the moon for the two things. But you can really identify a lot more. I've numbered them. I won't go through them in detail. You can do that if you have any interest. And moving on to 7, now we're kind of on the far side. You can really identify more of the craters that are between the big crater and the landing site. This is the place where we're starting to kick up some dust. And slide 8. So slide 8, yeah. Well, I guess actually slide 8 is what I was talking about more. Slide 8, we're now just beyond the big crater and seeing kind of those craters I call 11 and 13 on their way to the landing site. You don't really see the landing site until it kind of drifts over them. And if you watch the video, you kind of get out to 13, and then you're kind of just looking straight down, dust's getting kicked up, and you don't see anything. But in slide 9, I have the video again if you want to watch it. But I've also really, from the viewpoints, shown you what the actual ground path of Eagle was as it came in. You can see that it was coming down a little bit more toward the south, if you want to call that south. I suspect that was south, but because the Eagle would have been going around the moon from right to left if north is up in that picture. I haven't actually spent the time. I should have looked at that. I should have looked and seen if that picture really is oriented northeast, west, south normally as it would be on a map of the moon. But at any rate, the path comes down and then it curves a little bit to the right, drifts a little to the right. At the very end, it does clearly drift a little bit to the left. And if you just kind of go through the video with all of that, you'll see just how much it correlates with the picture from Chandrayaan. And I found that very satisfying. One more indication of just the lengths to which the moon hoax people went to convince us that they really did go to the moon, I suppose. And that's pretty much all I have today. Just wanted to kind of share that with you.
Beautiful. Thanks. This will be very nice for future reference. Anybody denying that the moon landing was faked, they can see in your video clearly that there is very solid evidence it was faked. So there you go.
Exactly, and very well faked. That's the point I really want to make.
Amazingly well faked. Exactly, like with all the small craters, the big ones, all of that stuff.
That's right. Let's get it. LT up here on stage. Oh, there.
So my question is, when they faked it, did they actually have to like send out reconnaissance early and get high quality photos to properly model the moon?
No,
Or
wait,
we got better photographs later, Did they
You
send a crew
actually
out to
believe? You
make
actually
these
believe that the
asteroids?
Indians took real photographs? No,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
asked NASA what did the studio look like 60 years ago,
Give
and they
us a
made a
model.
replica.
Okay,
Duh.
that's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
they could have
Yeah,
sent a crew out to like, dig some holes and make it look like this.
If
Like
you're
yeah,
gonna
reconstruct the
disbelieve
site.
NASA, why would you believe uh, the Indians today? So
that's right.
Chandra just seems like, you know, current. They deny the ISS right now. They deny weather satellites imagery. So it's so stupid to try to cater to these people. The buffet's closed, guys. The data buffet is closed.
Oh, but we're having
So,
fun with it though.
but it is, yeah, no, I think it's really, you can make up, I think it only makes the conspiracy just more sinister, because it was so well done. So LT's on stage here too. LT, I don't know if you had something you wanted to say
Uh,
or.
yes, I do have something to say. First of all, and John, thank you. It's good to review the old, even before you are reading to us about that moment by moment, the voice, I watched that YouTube clip you put in already. I think I still felt very exciting, to me at least. That's one thing. So thank you. And the second of thing, I think this Romans have so many familiar faces or profiles because we had a Thanksgiving yesterday. So I felt like I'm still in the thankful mode. Thank you all. Yes, I don't know. So I do want
So
to, yeah.
LT, I'm not, I don't know if other people, I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding you because your mic seems a little impulsive
Oh,
or
today,
something.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I had the same thing. So let me take my earbud out.
Yeah.
Is that better?
I think it's a little better, but it's
Better?
still, yeah, it's
Ah,
just the fidelity isn't great.
ah. Oh, maybe I had it on the music
It's better.
mode.
It is better though. It is better. Yeah.
Okay, so it's bearable. So I just finish quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Let me thank you. Thank you so much, and everyone who is doing this um, scientific discourse, because so so that I do want. And again, it's good to review those old landings. Those moments are exciting. And
Yeah.
lastly, when you mentioned that you had to pump the gas, does that mean, if I remember correctly, only New Jersey has that? Is that only state? You have to have the attendant come to pump your gas, correct?
Oh,
Oh,
I
not
think
that
in
true.
Massachusetts was like that as well for a long
Oh,
time. So
okay.
it's a state by state thing, but
Oh,
mostly the
okay.
Northeast today. I don't think the West Coast has any of that.
Oregon
Huh.
used to, but I think has stopped, right? Oregon used to make, it used to not let you pump your own gas, but
Yeah, because
up
when
until,
we travel to New York, we have to go do it ourselves. But if I'm
uh-huh.
staying in New Jersey, then we don't have to get out to do the pumping myself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In most places you pump yourself these days, but I always know when go to Oregon, because it really is. It's, I think at least it used to be, technically against the law to pump your own gas. I always had to remind
That's
myself.
besides the point. So I've done my speaking. I go back to my down myself. I'm eating lunch and listen to you. But thank you. I'm
All
grateful.
right. Thanks,
Yeah.
LT. All right.
Welcome.
I'm thankful for you being thankful for this anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. There's a brief bite of physics today. This is something I noticed a few weeks ago. I put this together a few weeks ago, and then then I was out of the country for a while. So, bite of physics has been on a little bit of a hiatus, and hopefully we'll get back to it. Oh, get Roivus up here. Hey, Roivus, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks.
Are you a moon hoaxer? No, I know you're not.
I haven't solved the problem of hard solipsism. I can't even really get to the moon at this point. Sorry.
That sounds pretty
Did,
mild.
did I say the
Solipsism.
problem of hard solipsism or the hard problem of solipsism? Like, what should I say?
He said the hard problem is
Oh, thank God.
solipsism.
Yeah, I think it's hard solipsism, right?
Hard solipsism is like, yeah, are you a soft solipsist or a hard one?
You're like a flaccid solipsist.
In the
Flaccid
morning,
You're
solipsist.
coming in on that.
it's funny. Every morning I'm a hard solipsist, but then in the evening it's just even worse.
Yeah, it's a common affliction.
I'm a sloppy solipsist. Only when I can't come up with any other excuses do I use it.
Has anyone compiled like a supercut of all the philosophers in history trying to like their little way out of it? You know, like I remember Sartre his was the other's gaze. Like when someone is gazing at you, you know, like there's no way you could manifest that, or I don't know. I have to read his great unreadable being and nothingness again, apparently. But yeah, I don't know. It'd be a fun little jaunt through philosophy.
I used to, I guess, channel Sartre when I would tell fellow Texans that they need to maintain their gaze, and it was GAZE to overcome their homophobic that they weren't paying attention to the right things. You can maintain the gaze.
There you go. It's all about the gaze.
Gaze monitoring, eye tracking. It's not like tech doesn't do it.
Fucking dogs do it. Dogs know what we're looking at. Even chimpanzees have difficulty with that. It's weird.
Well, you
That's
can
why I always
point.
thought Mr. Ed was more believable than Lassie.
Some dogs have a really hard time getting when you're pointing at their ball in the surf, kind of figuring that out, right? They just see you pointing, and then they start like looking everywhere but that place.
I
I
don't think
think
they
that
understand the material property of buoyancy.
isn't that like a Mandela effect thing where like the Tommy fell down a well, like that never really happened in the show. That's like a Mandela effect. Am I crazy?
Which I don't know what you're referring to, a specific
Well,
case.
like,
I
yeah,
He's
missed
talking
it.
about Lassie.
supposedly like
Oh,
Lassie
Lassie. Oh, and
was
Timmy
like
fell. Yeah.
communicating in the dog way, and like, oh, what was that, Lassie? Timmy fell down a well. Like apparently this is completely made up.
Show us the well.
What was that?
Mr. Ed was always more direct.
Well, he was a horse, of course.
What was that, Lassie? You want bicycles to fold even more? Like, we're trying our best here.
Well, we've really drifted off today. I was afraid this might happen. I didn't really have anything for physics today, so here we are
Well, do we
talking
need to
about
course correct
Lassie.
back to the left now? We gotta.
The mind tends to
I,
wander.
I can I can ask you physics questions like, what's data?
Well,
Like, what's
It's,
information? What's
information.
information? Yeah,
that sounds like
so,
a
What
Structured
do you
Benjamin
consider
information.
question,
what do you
Sean.
I
consider
think data would be
scientific research,
structured
John?
information.
Sounds like a Benjamin question.
yeah, John. What the fuck,
Oh,
dude?
oh,
Hey, John, I've got a real more subject matter. So if this 40-story building was scaffolded in bamboo, what's
Oh,
the material properties like the Young's modulus you need for scaffolding?
yeah. Well, bamboo's the miracle material, right? The, the whole arrangement of the fibers. So I don't know, but that did strike me as an odd thing to build scaffolding of these days. I mean, I get that for maybe building a house, but it seems like somehow even there they'd have steel for 40-story buildings.
I like the Salvador Dali sort of approach to this, where it's like you just have an extremely weirdly long, like one of your legs, and it needs to have these little like supports, coming out of the ground, like a little. That's how he holds his. Anyway, so I was wondering, like, if I could ask, like, what's information, like, because they say like, does information get destroyed in black holes and all this? So, at what point does something become not information? Like an ocean wave is just information, right? That is a collection of data points. What the hell is information for physics?
I don't know why somehow you asking that question puts me in mind of I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who I just increasingly can't stomach, frankly, and he was talking with somebody who was who was talking about determinism and the idea that that if you have these rigid laws of physics, right, the standard thing, everything's since the Big Bang, everything has been predetermined because everything happens exactly for you can predict with perfect confidence what will happen when the next move. And Neil deGrasse Tyson said, well, and they were talking about free will, right? How do you have free will in a situation like this? And deGrasse Tyson suggested that maybe free will could be an emergent property of a deterministic world. So you have a perfectly deterministic world, but free will is an emergent property. And then he went on to explain what emergent properties are. And I just left me kind of shaking my head trying to imagine how free will could be an emergent property of a perfectly deterministic system.
It's a popular view, John. This is not Neil deGrasse speaking. This is a huge school now. So if you ask someone like Omar Ani or Wissam or the other, the
So
people
how
in
does
the other
that
group.
work? How does
You,
that
you
work?
mean
How do you get
consciousness is emergent or free will? That
No,
free will,
consciousness,
right?
everybody agrees. Consciousness, everybody agrees on that. The hard
that it's
determinists, everybody, yeah, it's emergent, period. But the free will stuff, okay, give me
How
5.
does that? Yeah, though this is a good topic because I really was curious. I mean, it struck me that was just absurd on its face. But then philosophers will just take us into weird places.
We are
Shamash
reading
has done
about
it
this
many
actually.
times.
In the fucking universe is an emergent property. Mind blown. Right?
Well, because I do love the whole idea of emergent properties. That's definitely a thing, right? But I just love the idea somehow of free will emerging from a perfectly deterministic system. How does that work?
how does entropy work in that system? Like, what about chaos? I mean,
Yeah. Well,
how do you account for any of
entropy
that?
is an interesting thing because yeah, right. I mean, we knew about the laws of thermodynamics and entropy and all that stuff back when Newton's laws were ruling us. There was the world was deterministic as far as anybody knew. And so entropy is a weird thing because it expresses something that we don't know and yet presumably exists. Like you can have a system that looks like it's completely random that evolves into a perfectly ordered state, but that's only because you didn't realize that the original state was actually a really unusual state. It looked just like all of its brothers that aren't unusual states, but it was unusual in the sense that it evolves to this really highly ordered state.
What if
Here's
like,
the
like what if it's like intelligibility and free will? It's all just it's like a buckling of entropy where it kind of helps it along. It's just like a necessary, like it might be necessary to have intelligence because it sort
In
of
order
like
to stir the pot.
right. It's almost like because how does like you have that game called life, right?
Coming from a solipsist, of course, you're going to say that. You're going
I'm
to
a,
introduce
I'm
yourself.
not a hard solipsist right now, but so like, but
Give him a minute.
wait, give me a minute. Damn it! But
Hang
I'm
on.
trying to talk about abstract
Put
stuff.
on put on
I'm not
Pornhub.
smart. I don't know math or anything. Like, god damn it, you guys. Okay.
Hey, but I want Shamash to tell me about this. I mean, I don't know if you were serious, Shamash, but is there really a school of thought
you
that
can
says
ask.
that free will can emerge?
It is a real school of thought out there, and many people are in it, including Wissam Raid, who's much more
Really?
educated than I am in terms of our brains and our neurology. In fact, we were discussing it last week, and I think he's planning to host me on one of his episodes when we are discussing free will. Free will. That's the topic. They're reading the reading, and they're going to explain it in terms of whatever is the current understanding of our neurology. What I understood from him the other day is that it is an essential part of our brain functioning that depends on unpredictable events. And by unpredictable, we mean the fastest way to calculate them is to let them unfold. So
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? And so there's this
But
counterfactual.
unpredictable, but still determined, right?
Here's where we differ. So I told him this is Karl Popper. So Karl Popper has this definition of free will because he wanted to quantify it, or he wanted to have it meaningful, in the sense that the classical definition of free will is what? You say, if the conditions were different, then we could have picked a different, or were the same and the experiment was repeated, then you could have picked a different outcome. That's the classic definition, what we understand in our day-to-day. But that definition is empty because there's no way you can reverse the clock. And so you will never be able to use that definition in your testing. I want to know whether we have free will or not. That definition is empty. It doesn't apply anywhere. And so his definition of free will is, Karl Popper's, if you can predict it beforehand, then it's determined. If you cannot predict it, then it is not determined.
But that doesn't make it free will.
Not free will according to your understanding, but according to the new definition, this is something we can work with. Yeah. And so according to him, we are free because a Turing machine, when asked the question, right, the halting problem, will you halt if given this input? The fastest way it could do it is by running the input.
Mm-hmm.
And so because physics, so Newtonian mechanics is the fastest way. So if it's a mechanical Turing machine, it will be the mechanical Newtonian physics instead of electrical stuff in the computer, right? You can have the entire thing.
But is the idea, I mean, because even then you could imagine a Turing machine that has, like, you know, every particle in the universe modeled in it and everything, and then it just runs time faster. And then it can do the prediction before the thing happens.
You can imagine it, yes, but you physically can't because you have only one universe. So you're going to have to create a replica of our own universe to test that, and you just can't do that.
Well, okay, I'm not convinced. the thing that,
not either.
I mean, it just strikes me that we're talking about an illusion of free will. That's what it seems to me. And I think we all have the illusion, right? It's easy to see how that's an emergent property of, but that's not the same thing.
I know, but how would you go about proving it, right? We just the definition itself cannot be actually scientifically tested. You can't, because whenever you run the experiment again, especially with these chaotic systems, there's no way you can control the outcome. There's just no way. And I'm not going to say more because I think his argument is built on neurological evidence. So I'm going to wait until I listen his point about neurology being, okay, our brains are by construction dependent on unpredictable chaotic events that can never be calculated. And so I'm going to make the argument that you just made. Okay, but all of these are one-to-one deterministic outcomes. So the calcium, the potassium thing will go out, the sodium will go in. All of these are chemically well determined, well studied. Now, when you have tens of thousands of millions of them, then it becomes chaotic, but that doesn't mean it's random. And I'm going to see what he says.
And maybe it doesn't make any difference as long as we can change our mind, right? I mean, if we can change our mind, that's all we can ask of the illusion of free will. And we always can, right? We can always decide to do something different from what we were going to do. And then there you go. There's free will, right?
Here's another point they made. Why would evolution lead us to having our systems being able to generate the illusion that we have characters and we have free will in those characters? This sounds like a lot of energy spent and a lot of work that is not necessary. To which I replied, yes, but there's tons of other examples in evolution where evolution seems that it did a lot of energy and a lot of time, but still they are unnecessary. So there's the nerve that controls your larynx. It goes down behind your heart, behind the arteries, and then up again to where it can just go from your brain to your larynx immediately. That's one example of evolution taking us to great lengths and spending all that energy without any reward because it wasn't selected against it. So it's a debate going on. I just wanted to emphasize that it is an actual school of thought. Neil deGrasse is just copying what he found on Wikipedia.
Well, it'd be interesting to. Well, I doubt that. Quite frankly, I doubt that because I think he was mostly just kind of thinking about
Ollie.
emergent properties, and he just kind of put that together. But it doesn't surprise me, I suppose, that there's a philosophical school of thought. I would be. I'd like to hear what Wissam has to say about that.
I
He's
don't
not
know
here
when the
today.
room will be, but I'll make sure to tell you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've been joined by Benjamin, who always loves talking about philosophy. He's a kind of a esoteric, philosophically minded guy. So maybe I don't know what he wants to say, but I'm sure he has something cogent.
His name's fucking Benjamin.
Benjamin. Benjamin.
Benjamin.
Oh, he's not going to be goaded. Okay, that's good.
So, John, to
Yep.
get to a question that might be able to be answered, what's going on in my PTR?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Andy's got this great double rainbow thing. Take a look at that.
It's not
And
just
there's
double.
there's
It's
a
got
lot of
this
things going
vertical.
on. So
There's
the
three.
question, first
Vertical.
of all, is
Yeah, but the questions that can be answered are so pedestrian. It's
what's
like
surprising about that PTR? That's really the
It's
question.
triple rainbow.
Right. Right.
There's a fork.
Clubhouse was not created for questions that can be answered.
Yeah, I noticed that the vertical spike thing there does look like it's a rainbow, right? I mean, it's got a rainbow kind of a
It
hue to
does,
it.
and it was not transient. It hung out for like a long time. There's the second rainbow further out, which, by the way, I noticed, and I think I knew this before, I just forgot, but the double rainbow is inverted
Yep.
from the primary rainbow. I think maybe I knew that before, but
Well, I've told you that before.
the benefit of forgetting things a lot is that you can rediscover things and get excited about it. But this little spiky thing, it reminded me of like the Hale-Bopp comet or the recent comet with like multiple
Yeah,
tails.
that's right.
But I have
Ion
no
tail and
explanation for that whatever we call that. I'm calling it the vertical spiky thing.
It is weird,
But
and
it hung out for a while.
the fact that it's vertical really does suggest that there's some kind of a reflection off the water thing going on. Because why? There's nothing special about vertical, and it's certainly not gravity that's doing it directly. So it must
What
be
if there were a
somehow related.
crepuscular ray that moment
Yeah,
from the cloud?
yeah, it is really interesting.
Have you tried the kava yet?
Yeah, every night I've been hanging out with the band in
Yeah,
Cava.
so do you notice? I mean, I would drink kava every night when I was there too, and I got a little bit of the numbness thing, but it's a little too modest. I had a gummy yesterday for the first time. That was maybe the first time I've ever actually experienced some kind of effect. I was very thankful
Well,
for
there you
that.
go.
Yeah.
Dude,
To
one
quote
time
Benjamin.
I was in Florida and I didn't know they didn't have the law in California that you can't have a package containing more than like 100 milligrams. This was like, so I took one gummy. It was 200 milligrams. And I was way too late when I realized it, and I was like, oh my god, and then like my girl that I was with freaked the fuck out because she took half of one. She took 100 milligrams,
Oh my
and
God.
she was like, I'm having a panic attack, and she was like, can you just like take a walk outside? I need a moment. And so I couldn't put my pants on. I had both of my legs in one pant leg, and I just couldn't figure out how pants work. Like I was like beyond, and I was terrified I was gonna be lost if I left the hotel room.
What was
You
happening
know.
to your free will at that moment?
Oh, it didn't give a shit about my free will. I'm gonna put it that way.
Were you still a hard solipsist before you got your pants on?
Very much not so much.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, I don't know how we got from Andy's PTR to gummies and 200
Kava.
milligrams. That's anyway. But yeah, that's
Reality is like a strange repeller. You just can't stick on a real subject on Clubhouse.
the one thing that occurred to me, Andy, was the sky. I mean, so obviously there was rain in the sky. I'm wondering a little bit if it isn't kind of a the light from from the water somehow, because you can see the same kind of where the rainbow comes in, you see the kind of vertical line in the water, and I was wondering if maybe it was a reflection off of mist in the air of the water thing or something. I don't know how
I think it's more
exactly how
like an
that
Wait,
works.
isn't that what a
interference.
rainbow is though?
It's like an interference
Mist.
pattern,
Well,
right? Like really, when you think about it. I have no
well, I
idea what I'm
don't.
talking about. I just wanted to say interference pattern to sound smart. Yeah.
Well, look at the interface of the reflection off the water. I think it's very important to note this is happening over water, which can
Yeah,
reflect.
yeah,
So it's pretty bright, just like moonshine
right.
or earth shine on the moon can show you that on the dark side of the moon that there's that it's not completely dark. Could this be reflected off the water
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering, if there was
as the source, the original
a
source?
lot of mist in the air that could then somehow, although I don't know, it does seem kind of rainbow colored too, right? I mean, it really does have that, kind of with the same red on the left, um, green on the right, blue on the
Is
right.
red always on the left?
No, well, it is on the primary. It's on the outside of the primary. It's on the inside of the secondary, as you can see in Andy's
Right.
PTR. And by the way, the dark region in between the two, that's a really interesting, called Alexander's band. It's because all of the light that creates the primary rainbow, there's kind of a smeared out version of that inside the primary rainbow, and there's a smeared out version of that outside the secondary rainbow. But no light gets refracted and reflected back to our eyes from in between the two rainbows. That makes it darker than the regions inside the primary and outside the secondary.
Well, PTR for a zoomed out version that still shows the spiky thing a little bit, little fadier. But I've got 3 different versions of this so far in my
I'm
photos.
I'm kind of suffering here right now because I'm on Club Deck, and Club Deck doesn't actually allow me to look at the whole picture. Maybe you can.
Also remember I'm in the southern hemisphere, so things might be reversed.
That's true. There is that.
Wait, so this goddamn Alexander's band goes back to Aristotle?
That's a good question. I don't know why it's called Alexander's Band. Let's
This
see.
was
And it's
Alexander
not
of
ragtime or anything. It's not anything
no.
like that.
This was hold on. Is it optical phenomena associated with rainbows, which was named after Alexander of Aphrodisias, who first described the phenomenon in Aphrodisias' commentary on Book 4 of Aristotle's Meteorology. When this was written, so it wasn't Aristotle, but it was a commentary on Aristotle.
AI tells me that it can refer to rainbows or Irving Berlin.
Man, that would be a subtly clever name for a band, though, right?
Rainbow. Kermit the Frog.
So what did you find? What does it say? Alexander of Aphrodisias. Yeah. So when was that? Oh, 16th century. Oh no, 2nd century AD.
He's got a pretty bitchin' like lithograph drawing of himself. I always love those.
Yeah.
So,
Nice beard.
right?
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. I'm gonna put a link to my rainbow bite of physics, because that's one of my best, frankly, in the chat. If I can find it. Oh, actually, maybe I'll do better than that. Let's see. Let me find it here. There it is.
Shamash, you wanted to ask Wissam, I can never say his name correctly. He's here, so you can find out when he's gonna have that.
Wissam is here. Hey, Wissam. John was
Oh,
interested. I was telling him about our discussion on free will, and he's interested to attend. Do you have a date for the room?
and by the way,
That's
I was
undetermined.
expressing my extreme skepticism. I heard Neil deGrasse Tyson asking somebody the other day if free will could be an emergent property of a purely deterministic system, and the guy didn't seem to have much patience for that idea, as do I. But Shamash was suggesting that you may actually hold that idea, that free will itself can be an emergent property. So if you don't come up and defend yourself, I'll just continue to ridicule you here up on stage. Anyway, yeah, I do want to come to the Free Will-a-Fest, Free Will-a-thon, whenever that happens. So I put a link to my rainbow bite of physics, if you want to. If you look on slide 2 there, you see a really nice double rainbow with Alexander's band and the reversed colors and all of that kind of thing. And you can go through that and understand the rainbow in more detail than anybody ever cares to. Maybe I'll just call your attention, if you do open that, go to slide 14 and tell me why that is not a rainbow. Tell me why that's a fake. Whereas slide 13 is not a fake. Hey, oh, and hi, Ben. Sorry, Ben has joined us. Been
Hey,
here
John.
for
Good to
some
see you.
time. How are you doing,
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah, good. Good to see you. Yeah. Hello,
We had a
everybody.
very short bite today, so we've moved on. We're talking about hard solipsism, morning solipsism, if you want.
Yeah.
Is it fake because the sun is behind it and not behind the camera?
I don't know if well, it's a little hard to know where the sun is, I guess. There's lots of, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things about that are wrong. You could even just start with the fact that if you look at the left and right side down toward the bottom, it's not obvious they even join, right? It's trying to trying to make kind of some kind of a continuous figure, but I don't think that left and right side even join. There's something missing in between the clouds there. But the most important thing about that, the thing that makes it most clearly wrong, is it's not a circle. Rainbows are always perfect circles.
So even because, oh yeah, you're absolutely right, because it doesn't matter what angle you look at it, you're not looking at an
That's right.
object. Exactly right. Yeah.
You're always seeing your rainbow, a rainbow that nobody else sees, and it is a perfect circle.
Does anyone ever say like, hey, physicists, stop looking at that. Just stop looking at it. You know?
Stop looking at rainbows, or just something
Yeah.
in general, you mean?
Or anything. Yeah. Anything in general. Just everything. Just
You're
not look at
ruining it.
things. The Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're like, don't look at the light. Sometimes you shouldn't
They
look at things.
they tell religion to go away. We don't need
Scientists
you.
do.
We
Just go
don't. Yeah,
away.
we don't need your God. Our models work without it.
You're like, shoo, get
So
out
they
of here.
tell.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Get out of here. You're ruining it for the theists.
It's like physicists I've looked into. I'm like, oh man, like stop it. Like, what are you guys doing?
I'm surprised how often I hear these comments from people like, you're ruining it. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just telling you how it works. Like, isn't this amazing that it works like that?
But we
I'm
want the
enjoying it more
mystery.
now.
Okay, you can't think of anything in your life that you just didn't want to know how it really worked because you just liked having a mystery about it.
No, I want to know more. When,
No?
when I know more,
Okay.
it makes it better. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Like, it's amazing. Like, why would you be like, oh, I have no idea how this works, and I never want to know. What do you mean?
It's the love of not to know. It's the anti-philosophy. It's the love of not knowing.
I think the
It's
not knowing
crazy.
comes in more often, probably when you know that something's going to be so complicated that you don't want to put in the effort to actually know how it works. I think that happens to me. There's lots of things which I'm just really much more happy just kind of accepting the fact that they do work and that they're not magic. but they're understanding them thoroughly would require more effort than I'm willing to put in.
Right. It could be like a
Like,
calorie thing. Yeah.
can we have some examples of things which are less enjoyable when you understand them more?
Yeah, that's going to be harder, I think. I don't know that I think there's anything that I would enjoy less for understanding it.
I think illusions and delusions, like free will. What if it's not real? If you look into it, maybe it'll be scary. So you end up as a solipsist, hard or flaccid.
So here's a related question. Somebody asked me this some time ago, and I thought it was kind of a good question. Suppose you have like a serious bucket list item, some very adventurous thing that you've always wanted to do, and you have two choices. You can either actually do the thing, know that you've done the thing, but not remember anything about it. Maybe it doesn't even matter if you know that you've done the thing. But the point is that you do the thing, you really do the thing, you experience the whole thing, and you will be left with no memory of having done it. Or you don't do the thing, but you have a vivid memory that you know is false of having done it. You can reconstruct every element of having done it, even though you know you
Option B.
didn't. Which
Option B.
I have
option
an
B?
example. I have an example of something that bummed me out when I learned how it was done.
Well, wait a minute. I want
Okay,
to finish the hold on a second. We'll come back to your example here, but I want to know what people think about this because I know for sure which of those options I would pick. Shamash, was that you who said option B?
Yes, sir. Every day. Option B.
Yeah, I agree. I think option B every day.
This
Option
is the
A
total
is
recall
useless.
problem.
Option A is just nothing. You just there's nothing. You
I
have
think
no
so.
memory, and by memory I mean a biological experience. There's no record in your body anywhere that this has ever been happening to you. So what happened? It's just nothing. There's nothing there. So no,
Well,
option A is empty.
I totally agree with you. Andy, were you going to disagree, or did somebody else have an option A?
What could you have
Or,
maybe like a tattoo to show for it or something?
well,
Some evidence.
that's a good question. And so, for instance, people could tell you that you did it, right? People could say you did that. That would be better than a tattoo, right? Somebody
Well,
actually
I thought
telling
that
you
was
you
part of
did
the
it.
setup. I thought part of the setup was that you would know that you did it. You just can't remember it.
Yeah,
Which is
well,
an interesting
I said that, but I actually don't
how.
know that that's important. But it is important that people can tell you you've done it, but you will have no memory of having done it.
It depends on the thing. If it's an accomplishment, like winning a Nobel Prize, is different than telling a joke.
Oh, that's a really good point. Right, having no memory of having won a Nobel Prize, but people tell you that you did, including like, Wikipedia. That would be okay, right?
Like if the
We could
world
actually.
thinks
This
I
could be an
became a
experiment.
billionaire and I didn't, but everybody thinks I'm a billionaire, but I don't remember it. I think it's kind of like a weird version of the what what did Roy this bring up the other day? Brewster's Millions. I mean, in a hypothesized situation, it depends on what it is that I did or had happened to me.
Right. So I think we really do have to I think in the case though of an adventure, just an adventure, skydiving or scuba diving at Jacques Cousteau's Fijian resort or, whatever it is, that's the kind of the thing. And I think in that situation, I think it's crazy to pick A. It'd be crazy to pick having actually done it and not remember it because the whole point of doing it is to kind of savor the memory. I mean, maybe not the whole point, but it's just such an important aspect of it. Seems to me. I don't
You
know.
got, like John, is there something in physics where like the whole you don't want to know how the sausages are made, right? So you have like Andy Warhol or maybe like a 16th century Dutch artist or something, and then you find out that like Andy Warhol is using a projector, and then basically tracing it. And the same thing with these old timey artists from the medieval times, and they were using like
Right.
stencils and projection. And then you kind of go like, oh, I thought you were just kind of free hand drawing this stuff because you're a brilliant artist, but you were using artifice, right? And I don't know if there's something that's a
That's
little bit disappointing, right?
that's medieval AI, right? Just, he
Right,
didn't
but
really
it's
do it
almost
at
like
all.
knowing more was disappointing, not edifying.
Oh, that. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's right. Was that what you? Was that the example you were going to talk about?
And I was just thinking of I was just thinking of one because I was like, I know that that's a thing where it's like knowing more, leads to whatever disappointment or. I was wondering if there's
But
something in physics that happened to you where you're just like, oh, really? That's all it was. Like that's kind of stupid. But you thought it was something more esoteric at first.
right, because I think a while ago you said you had an example of something that knowing more would be disappointing or something. That's what you were
Oh, I
referring
know.
to.
Yeah, with the art thing, with the Andy
Yeah,
Warhol and the
right.
Knowing which
projections.
Yeah.
knowing which slit the electron goes through
That'd be
completely
disappointing.
changes. Yeah, that ruins the whole pattern, right? There you
Bummer.
go.
Watch out. I'll take option A.
Okay,
Okay.
Elliot, go ahead. Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, the reason I'll take option A is because, even though so I would actually go and do it, but I wouldn't remember the event. The reason why I would choose that is, so I'm thinking imagine you go to school you have two ways to learn something. In my example, you go to school and you can learn how to do something, or you can learn some knowledge about some topic or whatever, or you can go to just look at Wikipedia or something like that. And in the first case, going to school, it does more than just teach you the specific material that the subject matter of the class, for example. It does more than just that. It teaches you it changes how you think about things. And I think that's true for pretty much every other kind of experience that we have. It kind of changes us in a sort of fundamental way, even if we don't directly remember the event in question. So I guess that's why I would choose A.
Well, okay, I think you're reaching there, Elliot, but you're kind of extending the problem beyond the thing because maybe I have to specify that not only do you not remember it, but you don't learn any of the lessons, any of the side lessons. just I'm just kidding, but anyway, yeah. No, that's an interesting point. Steve,
Hi, John, and
hey Steve,
happy Thanksgiving post.
happy Black Friday.
Happy Black Friday. Thank you. Happy Black Friday. John, I posted in the group chat something hot off the press. I don't know if you've heard about it, but apparently physicists have worked out a universal law for how objects shatter.
A
And
universal law.
for how objects shatter, and some physicists are now referring to this as potentially the fourth law of thermodynamics very quickly, whether it is a cube of sugar or a chunk of mineral or a plate, that physicists have worked out a universal law for how fragments of a given size they
Ah,
will shatter.
sizes.
For several decades, researchers have known that there is something universal about the process of fragmentation when an object breaks into many pieces. And I wasn't aware if you had heard of this
Ah,
and whether or not it's valid. Thanks. And again, happy Friday, Black Friday, everybody.
yeah. So this is interesting. I mean, it seems to be referring to an example. It's called self-similarity, fractal structure, or something that these there's some kind of a power law distribution of fragment size. So it's not really so much, yeah, how they shatter is not really so much the point, but the result of the shattering. Yeah.
So
Well, that's interesting.
you go into it with skepticism, obviously.
No, not really. It's just that I think the headline. I think it's not about a universal law for how objects shatter as much as it is a universal law of the results of shattering. That's not a terribly subtle distinction, but kind of an important one. But it makes sense. I mean, I'm completely buying it.
John, I knew I could count on you.
To gullible enough to completely buy
Hey,
something.
I'm just asking the question there, man.
Okay, that's right. You and Fox News. Well, okay. So at any
There's
rate,
that whole thing about pasta
eventually
breaking.
I see
So
Andy.
that's what it reminds me of. Oops.
What is it?
I'm sorry. I'm
No,
coming
go
in.
ahead.
It's already Saturday here, so
Oh, you're on the
apologies. There's a
weekend.
latency issue.
The rest of us have
Um,
to go to work.
Your
well,
Friday your Black Friday is already shattered, right? Yeah.
yeah. I was trying to think of that Rolling Stones song. Maybe that was appropriate. No, but there's the whole thing with bending breaking pasta. You know, like when you bend it and it does
Uh-huh.
it never breaks in two. There's always like a
Right.
bunch of pieces, and somehow I thought that was relevant. I
Well,
don't know
usually
why.
three, I
Um,
think, right? Isn't that kind of the almost
or
universal rule?
is it three? At least three, maybe.
I thought it was, maybe it's at least three, but yeah, that's an interesting thing too, that when you break it,
Yeah.
you can never
So
break it in two.
Well, at
yeah.
least three is
So
correct because you have one in the left hand, one in the right hand, and then you have the middle that breaks into at least one, if not more. That's right.
Yeah, but that is weird, right? Because the breaks don't occur simultaneously. It's just that the way it breaks, I think, always ends up leading to. Well, I don't remember exactly how that works. Maybe you do,
and
Andy.
just to stay on topic, we are discussing hard pasta, not soft pasta.
It's yeah.
Soft pasta costs way too much. Yes, we're talking hard pasta. 99 cents a pound for linguine at Trader Joe's. Yes.
Well, I had a lot of soft pasta in Italy because they what do they make this? What's it called? Peachy, big fat soft spaghetti made in the house.
So it's freshly made. Yes.
Yeah.
All freshly made pasta is soft. Yes.
It starts out soft and it ends up soft.
It starts off gooey in a bowl. Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm going to. I have Thanksgiving leftovers to eat for breakfast, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna end this thing unless somebody. Let's see. We haven't heard anything from Benjamin. That's fine, of course. I think everybody else has had a chance to say something. I don't have to. We don't have to end this right now, but maybe in 10 or 15 minutes. Ah, there's Benjamin. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Hey, I missed the main show, but wow, if I don't come off mic, the conversation just drifts and drifts and drifts.
It
We're
does.
talking about what? Pasta?
We've been
Okay.
talking about morning solipsism and pasta.
Pasta, flaccid categories.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's not a drift as much as it's a wander. You know, a lean to one side and then a course correction to another.
A wah 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 wander, I think.
A random walk.
The hardness problem of pasta.
Is it the hard
Oh,
problem of
there's no
pasta
hardness
or
problem
the
here, dude. Like, I don't know who you're talking to, but yeah, I'm fine, Elliot.
Okay, so I'm gonna put back up the original link just for anybody who's come in lately and is wondering how this has anything to do with tracking Apollo 11's final descent. Just for those of you who didn't come in, very very brief thing today. It was just motivated by the fact that we have these pictures now of the Apollo landing sites from, in particular, in this one from an Indian space probe. And I just found it really interesting to take that picture and compare it to the video that we have taken from Apollo 11 as it was landing. And you can use that video and figure out exactly how what the ground path of Eagle was over the big crater that's kind of over to its right in the picture from Chandrayaan, and a bunch of other craters too. So you actually see the landscape there. It has hardly changed at all. Plate tectonics haven't ruined it over the last 50 years. Probably won't for the next million. Be even better if we were a million years in the future from Apollo 11. Compare it.
Yeah, I recently discovered why their voices back then sounded so like scratchy. You know, back when they were communicating with Earth. The reason is because they had like a really crappy radio equipment. They used some equipment that only required like 20 watts of
Ah,
power, and so it was a really weak signal. And then they had to keep readjusting the equipment to keep pointing it back at Earth, like manually do it from the spacecraft. And back on Earth, there's three large dishes, one in Goldstone, California, another in Madrid in Spain, and then a third in Canberra in Australia. So as the Earth rotated, each of these places would pick up the signal, and then they would amplify it, and that amplification process is what produces the scratchy audio sound.
the Deep Space Tracking Network. Yeah. Um, In fact, it's interesting you mentioned the sound because I took the audio from that video when I played it during the bite earlier. I denoised it, so I'll just play a little bit of it for you here, and you'll note if you play the video, you'll notice that my version's much better. I'm just going to play a little bit here.
Altitude 4200. Houston, you're go for landing, over. Roger, understand. Go for landing. 3,000 feet. Shot alarm.
Anyway, that's if you listen to the video itself, you'll notice a lot more noise in there. I have this great audio software that you can just kind of take the noise out. I thought that was pretty cool.
You're admitting to manipulating the data there,
I
John.
manipulated the data. I did.
And did you dehumanize the labor that it took? Did you take a Rick Sanchez out of work?
Yeah, sorry, Rick. Is he down there? He's not down there. No. Rick's retired. Oh, here's Io. Io's always got something fun to say.
Yeah, so what about those missing Apollo minutes, yo? Who's got some flat Earth to fill in the cracks?
Is there a 7-minute deletion somewhere?
No, it's like it's actually a German researcher recently was transcribing the records, and there is like a discrepancy of I think of a minute. Kind of interesting to note, but the thing that I find the most annoying is, oh yeah, we just taped over it because we thought we were going to go to the moon over and over and over again. So it's like
So I haven't heard this. Is this?
So the 1 minute discrepancy thing is an actual problem, yeah. I don't know what the explanation is other than insert favorite conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm. Well, we were talking earlier about how this whole, the fact that I can take the landing video and identify the craters that are shown in the Chandrayaan picture of the landing site just shows the lengths to which NASA and India are willing to go to conspire to make this whole thing look like it actually happened.
Yeah, Hollywood pays very well, but I'll say this, like, I know this for a fact. The Russians did launch and return videos from the rocket for their cosmonauts because the cosmonauts didn't always make it back, but they filmed the takeoff and all that stuff like separately way beforehand. To me, it's not inconceivable that some of the things could have been filmed on a stage because we weren't sure of the safety. And then we transmitted this, but we have the actual archive footage or whatever. There was a quick swap at one point. Very similar to what happened with the Time magazine journalist who took the photo of the EV walk or extravehicular walk in that suit and then cut out the wires and flipped it like a mirror and said, oh, look, it's a spacewalk. No, you just tried to do Photoshop thinking no one would ever catch you. A lot of those kinds of things for the history of the Apollo program annoy the shit out of me. And it's just because it obviously leads to all sorts of silly questions. But the fact that America brought back like tons of rocks and that the Chinese now want to go to the moon because of the data that NASA has of the moon rocks, well, that can't all just be a conspiracy. What's the conspiracy there then?
And I'd love to respond very quickly. First off, in regard to the rocks that were brought back, I'm not aware of anybody that's claiming that those rocks came from Earth. If anybody is claiming those rocks came from Earth, then I'm not aware of that. That's number one. Number two, I want to paraphrase what you said. And again, no disrespect. It is not inconceivable that if this happened, that might have happened. Okay, so based on that, what I compute from what you said, again, no disrespect, is there is a 1% chance or a less than 1% chance that all of this might be fake. Well, assuming that even that is true, then that by definition on its face means that there's a 99% chance that everything that is claimed to be true is true. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why taking absolute statistics is kind of problematic, because I never said it never happened. I just said, hey, look, there's examples of, let's say, temporary lapse is insanity. People did silly things for the purpose of public relations, for journalism, for media, and they were sometimes pawned off as, hey, look, we did this thing, and it turned out that you didn't actually do that thing. So if that level of, I don't know, errors occurring, and that's leading people to be confused, surely we had other problems, but as NASA does with all things, they probably had backups of backups of backups. So when you run a program, for example, you're going to do a live transmission. In Canada, we do this all the time. It's fucking annoying. But we'll pre-record it and then we'll play it as in quote unquote live. That's the sort of thing that I'm talking about here, that I believe those sorts of shenanigans happened, not necessarily that the trip never happened, because one small detail in addition to all of this is in one of the recordings for the astronauts, they talk about how the sand, like the moon dust, is so fine that it was starting to eat through the joints of their suits. So the suits weren't lasting that long. Now, is it important for all of that to get transmitted and shown to the world? Maybe not. So some things live, other things pre-recorded. So yeah, there was a conspiracy. It's just not the one that people thought.
Well, it's a good example of that I always point to because flat earthers make a huge thing out of this. Is there was a PBS documentary narrated by Stephen Hawking, showing some people on a lake doing experiments to see if things disappeared over the lake due to curvature of the lake's surface. And at one point, they land a helicopter on the other side of the lake. I don't know, maybe it's 10 or 15 miles away. I don't know. And the helicopter, you see the helicopter descend below the surface of the lake, disappear completely, and meanwhile a flock of ducks kind of come. That's just after the helicopter disappears. This flock of ducks kind of swims by in the lake, and then there's a picture of the helicopter coming back up. And when it comes back up over the exact same scene of these ducks swimming across the lake that the previous video showed there was no helicopter in view. They clearly did some superimposition they needed a picture of the helicopter coming up from below the curvature of the horizon, and so they constructed it. And flat earthers make a huge thing out of that because it was deceptive. It was a lie, right? That the video that they showed did not happen. They constructed that video in service of a point that they all said, "Oh, we didn't get this shot. We really needed that shot. Let's just construct it." And nothing could be worse.
Sure, sure. What's the worst that could happen? What's the
Right.
worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Well, it's terrible that there's shame in certain communities and not in others for these
Right.
deceptions.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's the thing. Is it's one side can't make any mistakes. Not mistakes. Can't ever be deceptive in any way. Right. But it's true. Right. I mean, I I revile PBS for or whoever made that documentary for having done that, and not appreciating because it's not as if the video itself wasn't aimed right at flat earthers, right? So this is a video. It's it's aimed at proving that the Earth is round to people who don't believe it, and then you explicitly engage in deceptive practice. That's really bad. That is
Yeah,
really
that's
bad.
like that's like dishonest academically and personally. Like the whole point of education, the most powerful point for me is that education is something that you can share and not lose something yourself. So it's a very powerful kind of idea that, and now you can go and do things with this new education, this new information. Um, but when we play games, it feels like the kind of games that bad teachers play. Like I remember growing up, a
Yeah.
bad teacher to me was somebody who's like, "Oh yeah, it works like this, and we'll just believe the video or whatever." But a really cool teacher will just go out and try to get a little lab experiment or something so that you can see it for yourself. Don't just believe me, don't just believe what I'm saying or even the book. Remember, all these things work in harmony with each other, so you have to notice the pattern of that harmony. And it was like, oh, that's wonderful. But then the government goes around and fucks around and does all this kind of stuff. It's just disappointing. But it's journalism, which becomes activism as soon as you start doing constructions, because you've left the domain of science because you're not being honest anymore.
So, Dude's joined us on stage. Welcome, Dude.
Just happy to be here. Is this room about landing on the moon or a flat Earth?
So it was a very brief room today about landing on the moon, which was kind of inspired as a lot of things are by the whole flat Earth thing. It's been just a very quick recap. It's interesting to me that these days, with so many people going back to the moon, now you've got other nations sending probes, landing probes. You've got companies with fiduciary responsibilities to their shareholders landing probes on the moon. And so the whole and these things are taking pictures of the Apollo landing sites, showing the tracks of the lunar rover, showing the lunar module. It's just an interesting time for the moon hoax conspiracy because so much evidence is now, coming to bear from so many different sources showing that all the hoax stuff is nonsense.
I'll add this, that at the UAP conference, one of the interesting folks that was there was an engineer from Helion Fusion, and he said that they had a data extraction from China on their servers. They were doing like this analysis of the moon rocks, and the Chinese wanted to know what the exact percentages were, and it was something like if you extract 25 tons from the moon of this helium-3, you can power the planet, or not the planet, America specifically, for a year, right? And so, like, I did the back of the envelope calculation. It's within like quite a like short
Assuming you have
fraction,
a
which is a
fusion reactor of some kind to
well,
do it, right?
the helium fusion reactors, the Helion one, that actually has been doing like some initial firing testing, and so there is like a very efficient. I don't know if anyone else, Ben, wants to mention something about it, but it is like an impressive reactor if you haven't seen it, John.
Is it? But they're not. They don't have a reactor producing energy.
I think they had a smaller prototype. This is the first scale up that they're doing,
Huh.
but it's not boiling water for the first time, so that's kind of nice.
Well, what do you mean it's not boiling water? I guess I don't understand that.
So they use electromagnets around the containment
Oh, oh, I
to
see.
extract the
Direct.
plasma energy.
I see. I see. Interesting. Huh. Okay. I didn't know about that.
So they don't need to convert it to then make it into kinetic
Steam.
energy to then pull it out as turbines. That's if that that sounds pretty cool if you're
Yeah.
skipping
It's
because you got all
direct
those
energy transfer.
Carnot efficiency and all that stuff. You skip a whole phase change, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, you still have a Carnot cycle with the lasers in that loop part of the system, but the point is that it's very impressive because they're doing kind of like these pulses. Think of the ASML machine, which does like the dropping tin hit with plasma, that sort of thing. That's kind of what this is. It's like little droplets of fuel, and they're very well sequenced.
Okay. Well, so I think, as I said a while ago, I think I'm going to wind this room down. I don't know if somebody wants to start an after party or something. I'm not going to do that myself. We should have more science rooms, but I'm not going to do it today. And so I'll just give everybody a last chance. If anybody wants to pipe in on anything, give you 3 seconds to do it. 5, maybe 10. All right.
Thanks for the room, John.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And we will hopefully see you next week. I'll try to figure out. I had something in my mind, but anyway, we'll figure it out. All right. Take care and fly us all to the moon.